10 to 15% of US jobs could be replaced by AI over the next 5 years. Guys, it's coming. Business owners, solopreneurs, consultants, coaches, people are trying to figure out how they can apply AI into their business because they clearly understand that it is more valuable than a virtual assistant. I know that sounds kind of bad to say per se, but at the end of the day, if you're paying for a fraction of the cost to get faster results that are more high quality, more to your preferences, that can work for you 24/7 without any breaks or holidays, the value asymmetry is insane, and who wouldn't want to pay for that? A lot of stuff is being replaced and automated with AI, and the difference now in 2026 is now these intelligences, they have evolved into agents. And I don't mean like they've just miraculously somehow by themselves evolved into that. What I mean here is that now the tech, now the infrastructure, now the system that exists, it's possible where you can literally just prompt an AI. It goes out there, it creates a whole entire app, it creates a whole entire dashboard for you. It goes out there, researches a full-blown set of tasks, criteria that can actually add a lot of value to your business or whatever it is that you're doing, and it'll bring back a full-fledged piece of output that is extremely valuable to you. And as you can see here, AI is cutting entry-level jobs while enabling one-person businesses. And a lot of these big tech companies out there, some of them like Telegram, they're running with like 40 people at the end of the day. 40 people. And so it's going to become very clear that in the near-term future that a lot of startups, jobs, businesses that are created, they're just going to be one-man armies of just a person or maybe a set of people with a few select agents that can go out there and fulfill at scale. That's the beautiful thing about AIs and agents, is because they can now fulfill at scale, whereas before you needed to scale with some sort of limited software automations or some sort of virtual assistants, whether that is actually getting remote hires, whether that is getting any sort of assistant from another country. But then now the thing is, because a simple automation, it can't just fulfill a task that you're looking to get done. Whereas say in intelligence, in AI, that can go out there, execute a series of tasks, self-modify itself, become better over time, understand your whole entire business. That is extremely powerful. So the uncomfortable truth here of this video is that a lot of people there are using outdated systems to manage their business, run it, save their own time, save their own money. And the thing is, you're going out there and defaulting to virtual assistants on these platforms that are obviously just a race to the bottom when you really look at what these platforms are doing. No offense to the virtual assistants, but it's really just a race to the bottom for the most part when you're going to these platforms, because you're going to try to find what is the most valuable person that can execute a job or a project for you and then pay based on that value. And the thing is, it's still you're kind of trying to find the needle in the haystack of who you're willing to bet your money on to actually get the job done that you want. And this is really just a outdated system that you're looking to fulfill a role on your team or something that you need done, where now in the age of AI, you don't really need to go out there and default right away to a virtual assistant, because now assistants like these AIs, they can go out there and fulfill your whole entire influencer outreach management. You can manage your, say, creators in a CRM that has AI enabled, or maybe you create your own, and then it can manage the whole entire conversation there. Maybe you can route specific inquiries to you, and then everything else, it handles it based on its own SOPs and understanding of what it wants or what you want it to do. So all that onboarding you had to do, the flaking you had to deal with, providing sensitive information you feel uncomfortable sharing with a virtual assistant, all that can be completely eradicated, eliminated, because now you can just do it with a single AI that understands probably yourself and your business better than you. Outsource it to the AI or the agent or whatever tool you're using, and it can go out there and produce the work that you're actually looking for and willing to pay for. And here's the best part, it's actually a fraction of the cost, depending on where you go. And there's a lot of platforms like this coming out. I don't know if you've heard of it, but this one's like Get EA AI, some sort of personal AI assistant. There's another one called GetVictor.com. It's not a tool, not a hire. I've personally not used these, but when you really look at what they're offering here, it almost seems as if it's just built on top of OpenClaw to pretty much do work within your business or like a Slack team or whatever it is. An AI coworker that connects 3,000 tools and does the work, reports, dashboard, code, campaigns. This is literally what's going to be possible with AI. And now the way a lot of these companies are positioning themselves, these software platforms, is that you're hiring your own AI employee. And that's the whole point here. You don't want just another cheap virtual assistant that you have to deal with hiring, onboarding them, whatever. Imagine if you hire an AI employee that has instant access to thousands of tools. You can easily just buy or even get it to code its own understanding, and skill file to know how to access these tools, what to do. It can create its own code base around your whole entire business where it grows and builds with you over time. Like that is extremely valuable for your business because, if say you ever stop using this tool, and I'm not saying this tool can or can't do it, but the idea is like if you have AI deployed in your business and it's building logs and history of all the things you're doing, that is extremely powerful because it's like plugging a brain into an AI. So it's instant context and memory understanding of everything your business is about and what it's doing. Whereas for a virtual assistant, it takes a lot of time to get that been done. And I did mention kind of about the context here, but it's very important that the context grows and evolves with your business over time because a virtual assistant, you have to onboard them. You have to understand who you're looking for. Do they have any sort of relationship or experience with what you're doing here, with what you're trying to task them with? And that's important because that is context. AIs thrive on context. If you're not following in the tech world, tech scene, a lot of people, what they're doing in their own obsidian with say like agent systems like OpenClaw or whatever is building out these massive giant brains, right? If you are a productivity tool user, you've been using you've been using Obsidian for some time, then you understand what like this second brain is, right? In 2020, we've had like this whole second brain wave where everyone was like, build your own second brain, whatever, because it's extremely productive. So there were two groups, Notion and Obsidian. I've always been an Obsidian guy, by the way. But now the tech scene, they realized, oh, wait, hey, we can build like these skill graphs, these interconnected forms of knowledge and context with markdown files, and then plug it into our AI. And now our AI has this massive persistent brain. It can easily just scour through, understand the context of our business or brain or personal life, whatever it is, whether these are tools, whether these are past histories, whether these are past clients you've dealt with, whether these are just repositories of different, say, systems you've built for yourself. Like imagine if you have a growing and building database of your own business operation that grows with you over time. Your AI can easily reference it, consume all the data you have of any history of any sales, any tool integrations, and then build out a whole entire database layer of your business. So now the whole entire onboarding problem, or say the experience problem, is completely solved because you just plug in like a memory, like a USB stick into the AI, and now it's instant recollection and understanding of every past conversation maybe you had with you, or past logs, or conversations you've had with your customers if you're like recording transcripts and stuff like that. That is extremely powerful and valuable for your AI. Whereas say with a virtual assistant, you have to train them on them. You have to see if they actually can do the task, if they actually have the experience and know-how of how to actually do a task. And ain't nobody out here trying to pay someone who doesn't have experience, right? And that was like the biggest bottleneck is like the context. Like, do they have the capability to actually execute the task I'm looking to get done? And now what it would be looking like in terms of like how you would replace it, it's not like a one-shot thing. It's up and done, especially to like a lot of people when I'm having conversations with business owners, people, whatever, they're not trying to like obviously do everything in one shot, but like the faster some people are extreme and they do want that, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I don't suggest that's the wisest approach right away. You want to just start off slow, get small wins, see if you can automate anything boring that you don't want to do, something that's frustrating you to your day-to-day basis, maybe taking up your Sunday or something like that. Get little wins like that, stack them over time, and you'll see how valuable they are. And you don't have to use like no sort of complicated tools or anything like that. So yes, there is a sort of like upfront cost to understand the tool, find a tool. I always recommend, say, if you're an absolute beginner, you don't know what the hell you're doing, get something like Claude Desktop. You could use Cowork, you could use Claude Code, you can literally just use the desktop app itself with like chat to like get everything done with you. For instance, I had a video that is doing pretty good, right? But I demonstrated of like how I replaced a whole entire bookkeeping virtual assistant. I was paying $200 a month. The virtual assistant flaked on me at some point. They did a terrible job. I have to provide sensitive information I don't feel comfortable with sharing with another person. You know what I mean? That's just personally me, you know what I mean? But that's kind of the cost of, say, delegating to people. You know what I mean? And that's the thing with an AI. You don't really feel that pressure or that discomfort when you have to do that, at least in my opinion. But I gave the AI the template, the sheet of the bookkeeping system of how I like my books managed and ordered. And then it just in literally 1 minute, the first Sunday of a month, I have a fully fledged out bookkeeping system with all my transaction data completely categorized, calculated automatically, and I don't have to worry about paying another virtual assistant. And this is like near free because I just pay a $20 a month Claude subscription, and I have a system built out there in my Claude user profile, and then from there it just cooks. You know what I mean? So whether you're using these broad, very simple, friendly tools, that's also totally fine. If you're using more advanced tools like, say, OpenClaw, or if you're going out there and using tools like Manus or anything else that exists on the market, Perplexity Computer or whatever, then there always is going to be some sort of learning curve. that you have to understand, like familiarize yourself with the tool. But once you build it, you build the system, the scheduling, the recurring automation, or you just get into the groove of, say, getting this thing to build you artifacts and different research, building and deploying your own apps or whatever it is. Like the payoff, like that's the payoff is always insane. You learn the skill once, you do it much faster on future times. You start building different knowledge and information chunks of how to do this faster next time because you've done it once already, and it just becomes easier. And the best part about all this stuff is that AI is excelling and improving itself at an incredible fast rate. It's like compounding itself. So what we foresee in, say, the next 1, 2, 3 years of where AI agents are going to be is going to be unfathomable. Because humans, we're just quite bad at, say, projecting into the future of what compounded growth looks like, and AI's self-improving and modifying intelligences that get better over time. You cannot possibly fathom what the heck this thing's going to look like in 2, 3, 4, 5 years. It's going to be completely incomprehensible. So what I'm trying to say is just start defaulting now to start using and plugging the AI tools into your systems, your personal life, your business, because these tools are just going to get better over time, especially if you're using like the most frontier labs, AI models. They're just going to become more user-friendly, better, and powerful over time. So if there's any time in history to become AI literate and proficient, it's literally now. It just starts with like simple things. Get it to do a research task for you. Maybe write your own daily newsletter. You look for specific things on a daily basis and say, let's say you're into plants. You need to know specific information about plants, about the varieties that are coming out, maybe sort of infections that maybe all the various different sort of infections that are consuming crops in, say, America or whatever. And you have to have this information in a very specific newsletter that no one offers. So what you do out there is you plug into the AI the various different sources that you like to read. You basically plug in this website, this person, this thought leader, this video, and then every single week, what it does is it scours the internet, goes out there, does its own research, and then every single day you can have a very hyper personalized and curated newsletter that only is for you, because this is exactly what you need, and that is the power of these AI agents. And over time, if you're using more powerful models, if you're improving your systems and stuff like that, it can go out there and do things on behalf of you. It can maybe write you a full report for your team, or maybe it can go out there and deploy some experiments, or maybe it can go out there and research something for it to do, show you the results, and then from there you can make an easy yes/no decision of like, yes, let's do this, yes, let's not do that. You see what I mean? So that's why it becomes powerful. And if you build the systems on top of these basic systems, they can provide an immense amount of value for you. And the thing is, like, you don't have to like overcomplicate this stuff. I know that was kind of like a lot there, but you don't have to overcomplicate it. There's a lot of easy tools. In my previous video, I talked about why you should at least just start canceling all your software subscriptions, because the trend of the future is having your own personal software and apps, because literally these agents, if they have all this context and information about you, as you use them more, as they learn more about you, they can just like one shot, a simple prompt, simple app, exactly what you need, your own fitness tracker or whatever it is, because they understand you. Especially too, if you're writing down notes in tools like Obsidian. Like I've been building this Obsidian for 5 years, right? I've been using this tool for quite a bit amount of time, and there's a lot of information into it. So if I ever do plug an AI into it, and I do have like some like AI systems actually built for it to help me think, reflect, whatever, understand context about me. So you have to just think of it from like that perspective. If you give it context to like your whole entire brain, it understands you probably better than yourself. So you don't have to start with like all these complex systems or anything like that. Just start something simple. Use a tool where it has agentic capabilities. Claude is probably the most easiest ones for beginners. That's where you're trying to start. Go there, start there. Don't default right away to hiring a virtual assistant, because now you can have an AI with you. And if you can build, say, a strong system where it's literally like your own personal assistant that's going out there, which is kind of like what OpenClaw can do. And now Claude is trying to transition into that, something to being like your own personal powerful assistant. OpenClaw can do that. Claude can do that. These are like my go-tos right now. And like, rather than just thinking, oh, hey, like, is there a virtual assistant that can do this? Think if the agent can do this or the AI can do this. Because there's two ways you can really get started with AIs and agents that I preach and talk about. One is, say, if you already have a lot of tasks and things going on, all you have to do is just automate and figure out how you can provide automations and systems to let the AI agent do the work for you. Because at the end of the day, like, I know this is a very terrible graphic, but at the end of the day, a virtual assistant, it's really just a intelligence, is really just a human intelligence that can execute tasks. And it's the same thing with an AI. This is an A, by the way. It's just an intelligent brain, way smarter, faster, cheaper, works 24/7, that can also execute tasks for you that you set. Like, it's incredible what some of these AIs can do, because you can literally program it, prompt it to go do something, it'll build you a whole full-fledged app. You can go on a walk, and by the time you're back, the whole entire front end is already completed. It's insane. And the thing is, like, whereas for a virtual assistant, you could pay like $200 a month, but here for, say, an intelligent AI, depending on how your system is set up, like what kind of stack you're using, you can pay like $20 a month for this thing. It's crazy. So if you are familiar with like vibe coding tools, if you're familiar with like these AI tools, use them more. Start outsourcing tasks. And if you don't know what you're doing, just literally prompt them to ask you like, hey, how can we do this? Trend for the future is that the help that you need doesn't necessarily require you to get a person, because you can now delegate these tasks to AI agents because they can complete tasks. That's the biggest difference of just, say, a simple automation that is static and just binary, where, say, with an agent, it can factor in the nuance of like what if or maybe, because the AIs, they can actually think. And while, yes, I did mention earlier that there is going to be a bit of a curve in order to understand these tools, use them, and kind of understand, but like you build it once and you just optimize, tweak, and fine tune it. So over time, it becomes better and actually does the work that you're looking for in a very specific way. And that's extremely powerful and that's the power of software, because you can create it once and then it can fulfill at scale, or you can duplicate it at scale. And the thing about like AIs and these agent systems is like you can prompt them to modify themselves or become better or do their own research. So the outputs that you're getting from them are even more powerful and useful to whatever you're looking for it to do. And the only foreseeable future where I see you still having a virtual assistant is if they are A players. They are learning all the tools. They are learning and understanding everything you have to do with AI. They're very proficient. They can respond to your inbound. They are figuring out how to add systems and automations in place. And they're maybe trying to figure out how they can move up a layer in terms of like they're not fulfilling all the stuff manually, but they're creating their own system so AI can fulfill at scale. That's also very hyper valuable because you're not doing all that yourself and your virtual assistant is doing it because they took the time to learn that skill. So if you have someone like that, that's extremely valuable. But the trend is quite obvious that a lot of like entrepreneurs online, if you're watching any of these like content business guys or whatever, then you can easily just see from their content that they're also looking to automate and get AIs in place of their current team as well, because you can now run massive companies with just small man armies. And I know I kind of skimmed this earlier, but just the last thing I want to mention is that you don't need to automate everything, because the other route of just say before you go out there and automate everything is also you being able to equip your AI with, say, the skills, the integrations, any sort of capabilities it needs to access in order to move mountains with you. And what I mean is like you can move mountains at the rate of like 10 to 100 people if you just simply equip it with access to certain accounts or access to certain dashboards or any subscription platforms that you're on. Because say if you're sourcing leads manually right now from, say, some sort of platform, for instance, why don't you just connect your AI to it? It can source it every single day on a trigger at 9 a.m., put it into a CRM, and then from there, what you can do is either prompt the AI to go do the work for you, so it's like executing tasks and you're doing something else, or you're creating an automation in it, or at least it has just access so it can say, hey, like, I can talk with this database, I can talk with this platform, and it can do work for you with like whatever you prompt it to do. So the route with that here is that you're equipping the AI with various different integrations, skills, and capabilities so it can increase your productivity. That'll be all for the video. AI is coming in very, very fast, and people that are going to get ahead are obviously the ones who are implementing it right now. You don't have to default right off the bat to, say, Upwork or, say, Fiverr or any of these talent platforms, because at the end of the day, if you could get an agent to do this at a fraction of a cost and the quality is 10 times way better, then it's a no-brainer. That'll be all for the video. See you in a moment.